Hello everybody, welcome to Stonx Music. My name's Ollie and today we're going to be having a look at the Glue Compressor in this deep dive episode. Let's go! Right, so here we are back in the Ableton Manual. Let's see what they've got to say. The Glue Compressor is an analog modelled compressor created in collaboration with Cytomic and is based on the classic bus compressor from a famous 80s mixing console. Like Live's original compressor, the Glue Compressor can be used for basic dynamic control of individual tracks, but is mainly designed for use on the master track or a group track to glue multiple sources together into a cohesive sounding mix. The threshold knob sets where the compression begins. Signals above the threshold are attenuated by an amount specified by the ratio parameter, which sets the ratio between the input and output signals. Unlike the compressor, the Glue Compressor does not have a user-adjustable knee. Instead, the knee becomes more sharp as the ratio increases. Attack defines how long it takes to reach maximum compression once a signal exceeds the threshold. The attack knob's values are in milliseconds. Release sets how long it takes for the compressor to return to normal operation after the signal falls below the threshold. The release knob's values are in seconds. When release is set to A, auto, the release time will adjust automatically based on the incoming audio. The Glue Compressor's auto release actually uses two times, a slow one as a base compression value and a fast one to react to transients in the signal. Auto release may be too slow to react to sudden changes in level, but generally it's a useful way to tame a wide range of material in a gentle way. Dry wet adjusts the balance between the compressed and uncompressed signals. At 100%, only the compressed signal is heard, while at 0%, the device is effectively bypassed. Another way of controlling the amount of compression is with the range slider, which sets how much compression can occur. Values between about -60 and -70 decibels emulate the original hardware, while values between -40 and -15 decibels can be used as an alternative to the dry-wet control. At 0 dB, no compression occurs. Makeup applies gain to the signal, allowing you to compensate for the reduction in level caused by compression. A makeup value that roughly corresponds to the position of the needle in the display should result in a level close to what you had before compressing. The soft clip switch toggles a fixed wave shaper, useful for taming very loud transients. When enabled, the Glue Compressor's maximum output level is -0.5. Note that with oversampling enabled, very loud peaks may still exceed 0 dB. The soft clipper is not a transparent limiter. It will distort your signal when active. We recommend leaving it disabled unless the particular type of coloured distortion is what you are looking for. The Glue Compressor's needle display shows the amount of gain reduction in decibels. The clip LED turns red if the device's output level is exceeding 0 dB. If soft clipping is enabled, this LED turns yellow to indicate that peaks are being clipped. Sidechain parameters. Normally, the signal being compressed and the input source that triggers the compressor are the same signal. But by using sidechain, it's possible to compress a signal based on the level of another signal or a specific frequency component. To access the sidechain parameters, unfold the Glue Compressor window by toggling the down arrow button in the title bar. The sidechain parameters are divided into two sections. On the left are the external controls. Enabling this section with the sidechain button allows you to select any of Live's internal routing points from the choosers below. This causes the selected source to act as the Glue Compressor's trigger instead of the signal that's actually being compressed. The gain knob adjusts the level of the external sidechain's input, while the dry-wet knob allows you to use a combination of sidechain and original signal as the Glue Compressor's trigger. With dry-wet set at 100%, the Glue Compressor is triggered entirely by the sidechain source. At 0%, the sidechain is effectively bypassed. Note that increasing the gain does not increase the volume of the source signal in the mix. The sidechain audio is only a trigger for the Glue Compressor and is never actually heard. On the right of the external section are the controls for sidechaining EQ. Enabling this section causes the Glue Compressor to be triggered by a specific band of frequencies instead of a complete signal. These can either be frequencies in the compressed signal or by using the EQ in conjunction with an external sidechain, frequencies in another track's audio. The headphone button between the external and EQ sections allows you to listen to only the sidechain input, bypassing the Glue Compressor's output. Since the sidechain audio isn't fed to the output, it's only a trigger for the Glue Compressor. This temporary listening option can make it much easier to set sidechain parameters and hear what's actually making the compressor work. Context menu options. Oversampling can be toggled on or off via the right-click PC, control-click Mac context menus. Enabling this option causes the Glue Compressor to internally process at 2 times the current sampling rate. which may reduce aliasing and transient harshness. There's a slight increase in CPU usage with oversampling enabled, and note that with oversampling enabled, the level may exceed 0 dB even with soft clip enabled. Right, that's the Glue Compressor. Let's jump into Ableton and see what we can do with it. Right, so here we are in Ableton. I've started off by grabbing a break, and we're just going to have a look at what it sounds like compressing this together. Now, the main thing with Glue Compressor is it is modeled after a bus compressor. So whereas with the original compressor, we're going to be using that more to get your sounds, get your kick drum a bit more controlled or get some smack out of your snare, we can use this on groups or on full loops. So let's have a quick listen here, and we're just going to play it through with its default settings. Actually, first, let's right click and set to oversampling. And then we can also right click again and save as default preset. So now when we drag it in, automatically it will be in oversampling mode. Delete this second one now. So let's have a quick listen and let's watch the VU meter and see what happens. So it's kind of moving a little bit, it's kind of hitting something there. This clip is definitely clipping, we can see that. So let's take the threshold down a bit and see what's happening. So our initial kick there is really setting that off, right? You can see that. If we look at the audio, you can see that initial kick's a good bit louder anyway. And again, being represented by the VU meter moving. So let's knock soft clip on so we can knock off those transients. It said in the manual, if you don't like the coloration that this adds, don't hit soft clip. I almost always hit soft clip. I love the coloration. I love that distortion. So let's have a little listen now. And it looks like that's pretty much recovering by the time the next kick comes in, but let's take the release time down a little bit and see if that helps out. So I think that's doing quite a good job of just stopping those little peaks happening. I can't really hear much coloration if we do the dry wet test. Sounds like it might be losing a bit of high end. There's one way we can check for sure. Let's open up span. So we've got span down here, and I'll just move it so we can see everything. There we go. And come back up here. It might just be some volume we're losing, so let's turn the makeup up and let's have a look where this is jumping to. Somewhere around 5, so let's make up 5 dB. So you can hear that's just taming that initial kick drum and bringing the other stuff up. Pretty good use of the Glue Compressor. And if I was using this break in a song, I'd probably then chuck some saturator after that too for a bit more nice and nasty. And maybe end up filtering the kick drum out, say 200, and putting our own, or filtering that right up to 500 and writing new drums over it all. Let's grab a kick from somewhere. Kick. That'll do. And we just follow this kick pattern. There's one here. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. So it's going to be the same here. Boom. Double kick. One kick. Now what we got, I can just kind of see it. Boom, ka, boom, ka, boom. And if you wanted to layer over that snare as well, we could go ahead and misspell snare and find nothing. Let's try again. Snare. One shot, please. Come on. I'll go into my samples. I'm sure I have something here. One shot snare. D&B snare. What you got for me? What's this sound like? Nice bit of thud in there. Let's turn that up. -9. Let's do -6. So where are we? Jet there. And then it's like on the end here. And then this one's a standard 2 and 4. And we got a boom boom, boom gat, boom gat, boom gat. We got this. So that's taken some frequencies out, added some frequencies back in. Let's group this whole thing now and go back to our glue compressor. As a bus compressor, it should be good at gluing all of these back together. So let's come down here, chuck it on and have a little look. We'll do it before and after by using the dry wet down here. I'm not absolutely slamming it. If we wanted to do that, let's take the threshold all the way down here. That's a bit much, but I could still probably use that, to be honest. Let's take the threshold to like maybe 18, somewhere there. So that's way too crushed, right? Let's take our dry wet down to 50, and now we're going to be using it kind of like a parallel compression. Pretty fat slamming drums. So glue compressor, great for just kind of smashing the shit out of stuff. It does have its nice color. I really do like the soft clip. Also be aware when you are soft clipping, the oversample will make it clip after that, but we can see up here in our main channel that we're doing okay. Big old fatty drums. So the next thing I use glue compressor for is my sound design and big old fatty basses. So let's grab operator down here and just do one big note. So I'm going to Control Shift M. It's always a G for me, baby. Always a G. I love a G. So let's have one big long note. Yeah, let's go down there. And let's squash the shiz out of it. Audio effect, glue compressor. Let's take this right down, take this right up, soft clip. So initially, without glue compressor, we have this. Just a pretty simple sine wave. With the glue compressor, soft clip, threshold down. And here's some of those frequencies being added. Let's grab our span and have a look. Click on here. So you can see these extra 100 up to 500 being added. So let's have some fun. I'm going to grab my auto filter. I'm going to set it to a notch. Let's grab max for live. I'm going to grab an LFO so I don't have to think about it. Map to the frequency. I don't want it going that far down. There somewhere. And let's have it doing a bit more movement like this. Copy our glue compressor over here. Probably not have the threshold that far down this time. Let's hit it in the middle and see where we are from there. So you can hear some of that movement being added. Let's grab a bit of amp for a bit of distortion. Let's go bass. Very nice. Grab our auto filter and LFO again, copy, put it afterwards, paste it, and we're going to change the frequencies and also change the hertz to somewhere here. Cool. And now we're going to take our glue compressor again, put it afterwards. We're just squashing and squashing and squashing. And with the soft clip, it's giving us more of that color, more of that distortion every time. Let's have a look at this span now. Oh, where are you, buddy? Right, we're getting somewhere. Now let's add a shaper instead of an LFO. So rather than just this, we can get some kind of flickering around. Let's go max, let's go down. Oh, I'm in opposite land. So let's go shaper. Let's grab an audio effect. Instead of an auto filter this time, I'm going to grab an EQ8 and turn all of these off apart from one. I'm going to give it something like this. Cue in a little bit. Let's come over here. Map this to the frequency and map that to the frequency, and we want it not all the way down, yeah, about there, and all the way to the top. That's probably good. So let's draw something in quick. And they'll come up, down, something like that. Rate caught was probably a bit fast. We won't have it go all the way up. Do like a, let's turn that grid to 8. We'll have a bit more control. And if any of you guys use Serum, this is kind of the same thing that we're going to do there. We're just using this as the, it's a drawable LFO in Serum, but it's the same thing. And then instead of going all the way up, let's just go up a bit like that. So let's have a quick listen. If we don't want it all the way, we can bring that down. It's kind of cool. Glue compressor. After this, squash it all together again. Let's start with the makeup down, the threshold up, and we're slowly going to bring it in because we've squashed it so many times now. We don't need something that drastic. We're just going to slowly bring it in, and you'll hear a lot of difference in the kind of colouring of the sound as we move this. So let's have a listen. Do it too much, you're going to lose everything. So. And I usually don't mess around with the attack and release that much. You don't feel like you need it. But let's take the release down and the attack down a little bit and have the listen. It's kind of cool. Let's get another auto filter. I like notches. Notchy, notch, notch. Let's go up here and we're going to take this shaper, copy it, put it here. Map to the frequency, and let's draw something else this time. Let's go like whoop, whoop, something like this, and we'll set that a little quicker. Don't want that all the way down. Let's do it a bit higher, somewhere there. Let's have a listen. Don't like that. Let's do this, and we'll set it slower. I think it should go up then down quite simply. I think that's going to be nicer. Curve that up and bring this one. Delete you, buddy. And we'll bring that one down. Just kind of have something like this. You've guessed it, glue compressor again at the end. I'm going to take my attack and release back and makeup down, and let's just work with the threshold. see that this is never, the VU meter is never actually releasing. It's just so much being pushed through there. Try it with soft clip on, soft clip off. I almost always have soft clip on though, like I say. Just gives it that nice little bit of saturation. Talking about saturation, let's add a saturator at the end of this. Yum. And let's do 2 of them. I'm hearing that bill, whoa, worm, this coming through. I like that, so I'm going to do it again. Let's grab it over here, drop it in, and map that to. Let's do an auto filter again because we love them. Oh, I pressed the button I didn't want to press. Auto filter. Drop it in. Let's do a notch. Let's put it OSR so we get a bit of distortion in here as well. Drive up, bring that there. Frequency there, and let's kind of move it. Where should we move it? Something like this. Cool. Compressor. Squash it all together. Threshold up, we'll bring it down again. That is a nice beefy as bass. So let's come down here and we will group all of this together. Glue Compressor. It's brilliant just for squashing those sounds in a way that does, because it's based on analog stuff, give it some nice colouring. So let's have a listen to this sound before and after. Nice. From this point, because we've started with the sine, if you wanted to do tiny bits of FM, almost anything you do over here now is going to have drastic changes by the end. So we looked before at flanger. If we grab that in, flanger, up here somewhere. Now that's just kind of giving it some even more movement. If we were to put that at the end here, it would be nowhere near as, oh, come on, move along, move along. Right, hold on, close this. And if we put it at the end here, it's going to make a completely different sound. So where you put it in your chain is going to be very different. Let's have a quick listen. I don't really like that. I prefer it here. It's probably actually be nicer somewhere after our distortion. Let's try it here. You might not want all of it. We could back off the dry wet. Nice. So that Glue Compressor, for creating basses, creating these sounds, I freaking love it. Let's do a quick bit of FM, but I'm just going to duplicate the whole thing first so you don't lose this. So if you guys want this patch, oh, I didn't want to freeze it, sorry. Duplicate. If you guys want this patch, it'll be in the project file in the description, so you can go ahead, use this bass, deconstruct it, see what I'm actually doing. But I like to just experiment and have a bit of fun with it. I don't like to think too much about what I'm doing, and I will reprocess these out into audio and drag them back into sampler for more fun and mischief. So let's do some, let's grab saw, draw a couple of bits, come to our envelope and have that filter in. Let's turn this up. Save this one. Have a look at the pitch envelope and knock that up 12. So one trick that I like to do, let's group this operator. Did I just press the button or is it, what are you doing? Control G, there we go. And let's duplicate and call this one low, this one mid, and we're going to have that one up and this one down here, and we can have the pitch envelope going. So you can hear it. Gives it this big old kick at the beginning. Let's add that to this one as well. Right, let's get them at the same time because they're a bit weird at the moment. That one's at 40. Nah, I don't like it. Don't like it. We'll turn it off. We can always do that back in sampler later. Turn these both down by -6. I might actually turn the mid one down to -9 because we don't quite need as much. Should we duplicate it again and do one higher? Oh, that's delete, Ollie. That's not the right button. Duplicate, rename high as fuck, and let's set this one to 24. We could also kind of make it a fifth thing or something, so we could do 24, then -5 off of that, so it would be 19. So this top one will now be a fifth of your original note. We could spread that, although I'm not too sure about the spread. It's a bit weird, but let's do it for the higher bit. And let's turn all this off again and just listen to our original sound. Pretty boring. So with a combination of glue compressors, auto filters, Max for Live is doing the LFO and also the shaper. You could draw this in manually if you wanted more to control. But taking stuff away, smashing it through a compressor. Taking stuff away, smashing it through a compressor. Bit of flanger, bit of distortion. But these glue compressors, they really do add a nice bit of color and character to your basses. So, like I said, this is just playing one note. We could then go ahead and try something. Oh. And this is just one part of the process. We could carry on with this for ages. We could do what we did in the last episode with the gate. We could grab our gate and we could grab a big old reverb. Where are we? Here we are. And we could set our reverb. Let's have a listen. Let's close all this. Whoop. Close you. Let's turn the gate off. Have a listen to our reverb. Oh, no we won't. Mass amount of horrible stuff. Gate on, sidechain from what we called 6 instrument. There we go. And let's just so now try it down a bit on that. So our reverb is only playing when the note's playing. Turn that release down a bit too. Let's get to the floor. So without that, with the reverb, that's working kind of like the dimension expander works. It's just giving us a bit more. What else would we do with this? Loads of stuff. It's never ending really. We could chuck a bunch of OTTs on it. We'll get there in one of the next couple of episodes. Let's just duplicate it a few times. Feels like it's lost something, but when you're doing reprocessing, you can always Control G, turn that off. So let's grab a chain and call this one OTT, and then just create a new chain, which is dry, and go -6, -6 on both of them. might want to do that OTT stuff before the reverb. Let's have a listen. Actually kind of liked it after the reverb. Nice. So, Glue Compressor. That's what we were doing, wasn't it? Glue Compressor, yeah, not just making horrible basses. But the Glue Compressor is one of my main kind of go-tos for making these horrible basses. Starting with a sine wave and just crushing it. Using this soft clip to get some of that colour. Doing stuff and crushing it. So let's have a quick listen to the drums originally here. If I grab all of this, group view, turn that off. So our initial drums were this, with the Glue Compressor. Oh, I actually had the Glue Compressor on here too, so let's turn that off. So yep, our original drums were this. Glue Compressor. Nice bit of raw. Filter in some of those frequencies out so that we can put our own kick and snare in, and then Glue Compressor for the whole thing together. So let's have a listen to that again. Boom. And then smashing everything up to make some nice old nasty basses. So fun. Alright everyone, that'll do it for this episode of Deep Dive. Hopefully you learnt a thing or two about the Glue Compressor. As always, project files are free down there in the description if you want to play along with these basses, use them in your own tracks. Don't forget to drop us a subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any more of these Deep Dive sessions, and I'll catch up with you guys next time. Bye!